Now, here in Nigeria, the Electoral Commission INEC says more than 90% of those who've registered to vote in tomorrow's election have collected their biometric voter cards. It's the largest collection rate since Nigeria made a transition to democracy in 1999. This means that more than 87 million people will be able to help choose the next president. For the first time, there are 4 front runners in what many are describing as Nigeria's most unpredictable election.
Not all our operations that are paid for by cash. In fact, the bulk of our operations for the procurement of works, goods, and services are paid for electronically. But we need a small amount of money to pay for the unbanked who render critical services, particularly at the local level. And we anticipated this challenge and interacted with the central bank. The central bank promised us that for the little amount that we need to pay for services in cash, they will make the funds available to us, and they have done so. How soon do we expect results of election to be declared after polling? I just want to say that we will ensure that it is done speedily, but I can't put a finger on the number of days or number of hours it will take, but it will be done speedily. We are aware of the anxiety and the need for us to conclude the process quickly, so it will be concluded quickly.
That's the chairman of the Nigerian Electoral Commission, INEC. There. Well, Arise's political editor and director of news, Sumner Sambo, joins me now in the studio for more. Good to see you, Sumner. And the Electoral Commission is now holding daily briefings. I mean, what are the key points emerged from that briefing today, in your assessment?
I mean, that they are ready to conduct these elections, and then, of course, the issues of violence that we've had have been attended to by, of course, the security services. You would have seen the Inspector General of Police seated by his side. And then, of course, that the necessary logistics required for the deployment of, sensitive electoral materials, are being put in place. I mean, there are some areas where it may be difficult to deploy, those electoral materials tonight, so it will have to be done tomorrow. And then, of course, it's that last mile approach, towards getting to election day. Of course, some of the challenges will be addressed tonight. And then, of course, the major concerns still have to do with the fears of violence. And then in Enugu, where we had that senatorial candidate being killed, the election into that senatorial district has now been postponed and shifted to March 11th, when we'll be having the governorship elections. Everything will be conducted. So for that polling unit, there won't be, for that senatorial district, there won't be elections conducted tomorrow. And then, of course, we've seen the security agencies intercepting some party members and leaders who have been caught with, stash of cash. Like one was about 32 million naira, and then the other was about $500,000 US, all being intercepted by the EFCC, the police, and all of that. So as we head to tomorrow, I mean, the politicians are beginning to have a sense that this is an unusual election. I mean, the government is actually doing very well in trying to present a free, fair, and credible process that whose outcome will be accepted by everyone.
Well, that's a very positive development, especially with the security services. But there have also been allegations from the Labour Party that their logo are not appearing on some ballot papers in Lagos, etc. How weighty are those concerns?
Yeah, not just Lagos, even in Ondo State. We have for some House of Representative districts, I mean, they are saying from some of their agents that an inspection of the sensitive election materials showed that some of the ballot papers didn't carry some of their logos. Now, sometimes these things happen actually when there are disputes on as to who is the rightful candidate in either a senatorial district like that or a House of Representative district, because either the parties didn't submit their leadership, their candidates on time. The process of a candidate emerging didn't happen on time, and then, or maybe there are court judgments that have been brought about, and INEC it's still awaiting its own legal team's decision on that. And so INEC too has to be very careful, because I mean, if indeed the matter was sorted way before now, and INEC didn't include the Labour Party's logo, the elections in such districts will be deemed to have affected all other elections within such districts. So INEC needs to come out and tell us clearly, why don't we have the Labour Party's logo in certain senatorial or House of Representative districts? Is it because of court judgments, or is it because the party itself didn't submit the names of its candidates on time, or is it studying any particular judgments or court orders and all of that? So the Labour Party should actually take it up with INEC, and they should get a response tonight.
Right. I noticed that
team.
question was asked of the chairman,
yes.
Earlier, and he didn't actually answer it very clearly. So, yes. As you said, I mean, I think you have a good point there. It's just still quite murky. And you talked about the potential issue of violence and insecurity. I mean, I imagine that as political editor, this election period punctuates your existence now, basically. I mean, you'll wake up, check your phone and hope that what you see isn't going to make your heart sink.
Yeah, I mean, the campaigns are all over. Now what's left is for the politicians to keep using propaganda. And of course, there was one audio clip that was circulating much earlier where the candidate of the main opposition, Atiku Abubakar, was being accused of, planning to rig election ahead with some of his, lieutenants here and there. But of course, they issued a statement denying that. I mean, between now and tomorrow, Charles, lots of misinformation, disinformation, and all sort of, things will be pushed out there. So it's left for us journalists to be able to know the right sources and verify information. We at Arise News here are telling our viewers that we're going to work very hard to ensure that whatever we're pushing out there is authentic. We've increased our verification process, and of course we'll do our best. Not to say we can get everything 100%, but of course our viewers across the world can rely on us for up-to-date information, and then whatever happens, both with the Electoral Commission, with the results, and the candidates, will be following up until the last minute.
And I second that, Sumner. Thank you very much indeed. Sumner Sambo, Arise political editor and director of news.